Hello, YouTubers! Hello everyone, today I'm going to have a new video going over... Hello everyone, we've reached the 900th video on the channel. Thank you all for everyone who has subscribed, viewed, enjoyed my content all these years. I decided to throw back with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I ranked all the films and went over each film individually a couple of Halloweens ago. And I decided to share my top 10 favorite A Nightmare on Elm Street moments. My list is probably going to greatly differ from yours, so feel free to share your favorite moments down in the comments below. Starting at number 10 is a moment from Freddy versus Jason. I love the moments between Freddy and Jason in this film, and while it does lean a bit more Friday the 13th instead of Nightmare on Elm Street, I do love the moment we do get to see Freddy overpower Jason. How he pretends to be Mrs. Voorhees, you know, Jason's mother. I love the moment where he's fighting him, messing around with Jason like a pinball machine, and we get that awesome moment where he taunts him with water. Such a sadistic Freddy Krueger moment, and you know, Freddy Krueger already invades people's dreams, but he uses their own fears and anxieties against them. He weaponizes them, and this is just a great moment seeing Freddy Krueger toy with Jason Voorhees. After that, at number 9 is the ear moment. That's right, the ear moment from Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Oh my god. You have this character who is deaf, he went through abuse, and Freddy Krueger again weaponizes that abuse against him again, pretends to be his mother, and shoves a Q-tip in his ear, and it actually goes completely through, getting his eardrum. It is so gory. This is just sick, seeing Freddy Krueger toy with this individual. And this film is kind of more of a cartoon. It's a comedic film compared to its predecessors, but this is a one moment that gets very dark. And we get this whole chase sequence all the way down to him basically making him lose his hearing, and then having him gain super sensitive hearing nails drop, and then have his claws go against the chalkboard, causing this man's head to explode. Kill done in grand fashion. At number 8 is the Freddy Souls Death from Dream Master. I like the character of Alice and how she basically confronts Freddy Krueger, has these abilities from all the souls he has taken, but she decides to use those souls against him, and we get this wonderful death sequence, probably better as a final death sequence than the one he got in Freddy's Dead, believe it or not. I love how they built a torso and had people go through like this latex wall. I just love it. But the effect it has is basically she invites all the souls of Freddy Krueger to come out, all the souls of his victims, all the children of Elm Street, and all these souls start feeding upon him and basically get unleashed. They destroy him by basically escaping his body. Such a cool, gory way for Freddy Krueger to go out. After that, at number 7, I have 2 moments tied. That is, 1, the Dream Warrior scene with the worm. That's right, we have Patricia Arquette as Kristen. This was featured in the Dokken music video of Dream Warriors, but I love it where Freddy Krueger's a worm, goes through these walls, and then ends up like basically trying to eat Kristen alive. And she's screaming for help. She brings Nancy into her dream, and we get this wonderful moment with Heather Langenkamp's Nancy rescuing Kristen, stabbing Freddy Krueger with some broken glass in his eye, and there's this great moment where he just like all of a sudden comes to consciousness, and he's just like, "You." And she's like, "Oh God, run!" I love that moment because, you know, Nancy defeated Freddy Krueger and he recognizes her again, and that's such a cool moment. That's what makes this feel like a true sequel to the original Elm Street. Also tied is the infamous bathtub scene. Such a scary moment. We already deal with Nancy and her friends having trouble sleeping, dealing with nightmares, and this is a scene where she falls asleep mid-bath, and we get that awesome scene with a glove rising out of the water and then going back in for a second, in addition to her almost being drowned. Such a crazy, surreal moment, and you know, it's already kind of like messed up that he's invading her privacy in this way, but then you also get that violation with dreams, and that's what makes Freddy Krueger scary. You're at your most vulnerable. After that, at number 6 is the Tinalevitation Scene. This was a crazy scene, and this scarred me when I saw this film as a 6-year-old. My brother-in-law showed me it. Yeah, I have to thank him for me being a Freddy Krueger fan, let me say. This film scared me. Dream Warriors helped cure my my anxiety over the film, but this was just crazy seeing Tina being chased in her dreams, Freddy Krueger cutting his fingers off, his arms being elongated, seeing his face come off. That effect, though, looks kind of fake now, but it's just crazy seeing her in her dreams being killed, and then that coming into the real world and her being levitated, being cut open, and just like going around the room being knocked over. It's just so insane to see, and it's amazing how they did this practically. Still one of the scariest moments and wonderful uses of practical effects from the original Elm Street. After that, at number 5 is in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. There's that wonderful scene where Freddy comes out into the real world. You know, he goes after our protagonist, and then he comes out and tries to kill people slasher style like Michael or Jason. And yeah, that does kind of violate the certain rules of Elm Street, but Freddy was still scary here. But he says this wonderful line where he traps everybody at this pool party, and he's just like, "You're all my children now." It was just amazing seeing the barbecue pit, swimming pool, everything just kind of catch fire and start burning these people, and him just slashing and killing everybody in his path. He was just a force to be reckoned with still. And this is probably my favorite moment from the second film. After that, at number 4 is another moment from The Dream Master. I love it where Alice and her boyfriend are in the dream. They're trying to confront Freddy, and they're by the diner, and it's great seeing the time loop. This is where it starts to become more stylized. It's MTV Freddy Krueger, so to speak, but I love it because it is like a dream where it's like, whether it's like you moving in slow motion, you can't move, dealing with different phobias. This time loop is like they're in this nightmare where they're just repeating the same actions over and over and cannot escape it. And there's just something so psychologically messed up about that. Just one of my favorite moments from the Elm Street films. After that, at number 3 is the scene in Wes Craven's New Nightmare where Heather Langenkamp goes to visit Wes Craven, and he's talking about the new film and how she has to play Nancy one more time, and how Freddy is basically the new host for this ancient evil. You know, evil itself, and it takes different forms and shapes throughout the years, throughout the ages. And what I love about this scene is the kind of like good versus evil theme, Heather Langenkamp having to be Nancy, but also Wes Craven knowing what's happening in this film, and it gets very meta. It's already a meta film, but it gets more meta when you're in his office and you see the screenplay, and it's exactly the dialogue that him and Heather Langenkamp are talking about. Like right now, it's their dialogue, and that's so cool because you have shows like Supernatural that did that with a screenwriter character later. You get meta films that even Wes Craven did, Scream, and he did it 2 years before with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This film I saw on HBO and I absolutely loved, and it's just such a cool, creepy moment that I even was inspired to put in one of my films as far as a screenplay coming to life, because it's just like, that's trippy, man. My favorite moment at number 2 is the Glenn death in the original Elm Street. Yes, that's right. Johnny Depp's bed. Not the worst thing that happened on Johnny Depp's bed, but still, Glenn gets killed, swallowed up into the bed, and you have all this blood just starts coming out. Oh my God, it's a bloodbath, literally. You have that moment earlier where he's telling Nancy, Freddy Krueger over the phone, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." You have that tongue, but it was just so crazy seeing Glenn's death. The use of a rotating room again, like Tina's death, is just great. And even how like the blood caused the weight to shift, and that's why it has this weird look. Oh my God, just one of the craziest, bloodiest deaths I've seen in a horror film. And again, just scarred me as a young kid watching this with my brother-in-law. But I have to thank him for it because now I'm a Freddy fan for life. After that, at number 1, it's a small moment, but I love the moment in Wes Craven's New Nightmare where Heather Langenkamp starts to read about dreams and stuff, starts to piece everything together. And there's this wonderful moment where Freddy actually comes out of the real world and confronts Heather Langenkamp, aka Nancy, for the first time again. And I love it because the power goes out, the TV's all messed up talking about events and earthquakes, and she goes to see what's going on. The power is out. And we get this scene where she hears something in the closet, she opens it, and you get that wonderful moment where Robert Englund just pops out of the clothes and he's like, "Miss me?" And I just love that moment. It's such a cool moment and reunion between Nancy and Freddy, and a great battle. Anyway, that does it for my top 10 favorite Nightmare on Elm Street moments. There's so many moments to pick from, but these are my top 10 favorite. So feel free to share your favorite Elm Street moments down in the comments below. Thank you all to everyone out there who has watched my videos all these years. We're at 900. I was planning on a different video, but to keep things moving along, I decided to share this in a Halloween mood early. So yeah, sweet dreams, everyone. Till next time.